So this project, I had the idea for this around 2016, 2017. Again and again, it's a series of drawings that I started as a way of addressing kind of my own issues I was having with my hands. As an artist, we use our hands for lots of different things, and the work that I was doing at the time created an injury in my right hand, specifically repetitive stress injury, which was a cause of concern for myself, both in terms of my career and in terms of my art. And I became fascinated with my hands as these tools, as these parts of your body that have limitations. And so as part of diagnosing the issues that I was having, where an x-rays were taken of my hands to figure out what the issues were. I was fascinated by the x-ray. It's featured in this exhibition because it was kind of this pose that you can see in the poster, you can see in the exhibit, is kind of this everything is okay symbol, when in fact things are very much not okay. And so that got me thinking about the repetition of certain actions, both in art and in life, that can gain meaning through ritual and process. And I started a series of drawings where I challenged myself within certain parameters to draw both my right and my left hand. My right hand would draw my left hand would draw my right, and I would just repeat that process. Everything else was very sort of clearly defined. I used the same pencil, I used the same paper, I would sit in the same place, and I would try to do this on a regular basis. And it became clear to me that it was a process of focusing my attention for 10 or 15 minutes. It became almost like a ritual, in some ways quite meditative. But also it was challenging because I'm right-handed, so to draw my right hand with my left was difficult. And with the issues that I was experiencing with my hand, my right hand especially, with the arthritis, and a little bit of carpal tunnel, just to make it more interesting, it could be painful as well. So kind of perverse in a way to give myself this task, this endeavor where the plan is to do a drawing a day, or the equivalent of a drawing a day for an entire year. This exhibit has the drawings for let's say the first 6 months, or the equivalent of 6 months of drawings. So there's 6 sections of drawings on the wall. Each one represents a month's worth of drawings, going from the left to the right and back to the left again. And it depends on what's going on that day, how exhausted I am, the quality of the drawing at that moment. I wasn't allowed to erase. I had set that as a rule for myself. I wasn't allowed to make corrections. It would start as kind of a contour. But I'd get drawn in. I'd be looking at this part of myself. I'd be kind of seeing the scars and the evidence of my age, as well as the creases and marks, and being fascinated by that. And some drawings would be more accurate, others would be less accurate. But it's all part of a larger project. The centerpiece of this exhibit is a door, a freestanding door that used to be used as for a person to take an x-ray. They would need to be protected using a lead-lined door. This is quite an old device. Now everything is much more digital, but this thing is on wheels, and it was actually something that was in storage at the lab that I used to work at. And so I kind of reclaimed this object and turned it into a sculpture by taking the x-ray of my hand and placing it in that window. So my right hand that's in the x-ray could be seen as either a right or a left hand, depending on which side of the door you stand on. And seeing it in the space where it can be moved around, you see the light and the image of these drawings kind of behind that x-ray, illuminating that x-ray. And it's an interesting contrast because it's clear to me, at least, that the hand in that x-ray is the same one that I'm trying to capture in pencil. And in this space, this very unique space in the vault gallery, you really need to come to terms with it because it's very cacophonous, it's echoey in there, it's very industrial, it's concrete, it's of the same era as the x-ray door itself, and the color palette also works quite well. Now the drawings, because they're done on vellum, there's a sort of transparency to them, which I really liked, maybe because it speaks to me of the skin of the hand and seeing the bones behind the skin. placing these drawings on the wall, this imperfect concrete wall, the blemishes on the wall become part of the drawing. So you can see these marks and holes in the concrete through the vellum, and actually the drawings interact with the wall as a result of that. So you really need to embrace and or engage with this space to be able to work with this space. But I feel that the whole thing kind of came together, both in terms of the coldness and the age of this space, and then also the attempt to kind of capture this, well, in some ways it's a narrative, it's my sort of process, and at this stage I'm halfway through it. There's 6 more months worth of drawings to come. When this is all done, there'll be 365 kind of as part of this entire piece. So, so yeah, and I've been really pleased with how it's been received so far.